Joining me now is Taha Arvas. He's the financial columnist at the Daily Sabah newspaper. Welcome to Money Talks, as ever.
Thank you.
Taha, great to have you. Taha, what do you attribute the weakness in the lira to?
I think there are a lot of factors. One of the factors that we need to point out is there has been a general dollar strength momentum going on. In the last 2 months, the Japanese yen is down 10% against the U.S. dollar. The Canadian dollar is down over 10% against the U.S. dollar. The South African rand, which most correlates to, the Turkish lira, is down 7%. So a lot of currencies, the euro, et cetera, are all down against the dollar. Turkey has what's called a higher beta, which means it's more affected by economic moves. So when the economy is better for emerging markets, Turkey moves faster upwards, and then when it's worse, it goes down faster. So that, coupled with higher oil prices, these are the highest oil prices we've seen in the last 2 years, and Turkey is an importer of oil, of gasoline. So when that happens, these coupled together lead to a devaluation in the currency that we've seen. It's not a devaluation, but a small increase.
Right. So in response to the fall that we saw today, the central bank has made a couple of small moves. But explain to us in a little bit more detail what exactly they're trying to do here.
The central bank is doing a few things. It has, this is one of the most proactive central banks in modern Turkish history. They have a lot of tools in their tool belt, and this new central bank has come at a time where there are a lot of changes globally. The current Fed chairman is changing. The United States has this new overhaul of the tax policies that it's considering. There are multiple different economic swings all over the world. And so the latest move was in an effort to shore up the Turkish lira a little bit without hurting lending in general. So it's just another move that the central bank did to help the general Turkish economy.
Nonetheless, they are holding the benchmark rate steady. President Erdogan says that raising interest rates would make it much harder to control inflation, which kind of goes against traditional orthodoxy. But explain his rationale for saying that.
I think the point that he's making is since 2008, since the Great Recession, the world has changed drastically. In the past, we were taught, Economics 101, if you increase interest rates, then inflation goes down, and similarly the opposite. But what's happened is interest rates are nearly at zero or less than zero in most of the developed world. In the European Union, they're at negative rates. In Japan, they've been close to zero for over 20 years. But inflation has not increased at all in those areas. So the worst enemy of any economist is stagflation. So if we have lack of inflation or, God forbid, deflation, that means people will not spend money on anything, and they'll wait because their money gets more valuable. So what's happened is President Erdogan argues that increasing interest rates will increase inflation. That's called the Neo-Fisherian theory. It's something that's been floated the last couple of years by many Fed officials, and it's been embraced by a lot of people around the world. It might be true. In Turkey, we're seeing the math shows that inflation has increased as interest rates increased. Causation doesn't necessarily mean correlation. Correlation doesn't mean causation, but we're not sure. Time will tell what is the correct method or what is the correct interpretation.
Taha Arvas, Daily Sabah, thank you ever so much for your time.
Thank you.